Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is April 12th, 2021. This is episode 269. Engine Ward is what we're looking at today. This is a Vault Comics. This is the 9th issue. And on the cover, and it comes in at $3.99. And on the cover, we have Pisces, who's one of the Celestials. All the Celestials are based on the Zodiac, and you get a good look at this. Earth is an ancient myth, meaning that this takes place on an Earth that no longer exists. They are trying, right now it's mostly wasteland, and the Celestials are running it. They're very powerful, but they're also corrupt, and they are holding down the general population, taking all their water and food, and just rationing it out. They're starving and dehydrated, and crops are failing, and all those things are going on for them. What has happened in the meantime is Josh, who's the Engine Ward, she has been sent on a mission to find the Terran Seed, which apparently can it's kind of like a what do you want to call it? It helps things grow more quickly, so it's kind of a catalyst, so to speak, if it's activated in the correct way. So like we said, this is a new character, Pisces, just talking with this ball of water. Now, I don't know if this is Aquarius or if this is her own water that she brings around. It's not really clear, but as you can see, the fish kind of swim there. I think she provided it herself. Before we get going too far, let's talk about George Mann, who wrote it, Joe Eisner, who's the artist, Michael Garland, who's the colorist, and Hassan Ostmain El Haru, I guess I'm saying that wrong, is the letterer on this. This is a recommend. There are some issues I do have with it, and we'll go over those as well. So the new character is summoned by Aquarius, and then we see another new character who's Cancer. I don't believe Cancer's been in this yet. And they're speaking to Aquarius, and when Aquarius speaks, it's kind of watery sounding, and hence the blubbery looking bubbles here for her speech. But she's basically telling them that Capricorn, she believes, was not killed by the townspeople as has been told in the past, but was actually killed by one of the Celestials that thought he was getting too popular or wanted too much power. So they are going to agree to help Aquarius at this point. Now we go back in the woods. In the end of the last issue, Josh and her group had actually found the Terran Seed, but it was taken from her by the posse that was following them, led by the Gemini twins. And before they left, they knocked out Thracia, they wounded Ichabod, and they also broke the funny, sarcastic robot named Creek. Now, I do have some issues with this. Obviously, they have all this profanity in here. It just doesn't seem to fit in this. I think it would be a stronger issue without this. That's one of the things. The other issue I have is Ichabod. I think he's a great character. He played a major role in the first issue, and the next 7 issues, he is just kind of almost a bystander. He does very little, but he was kind of a Han Solo type guy in the first issue. He was even on the cover of the first issue. But he has been regulated to a bystander. He was wounded in the leg, so his mobility is limited. Thracia is just waking up. And Josh has been working on this. That's her specialty, electronics and engines and whatnot. Trying to get it going again. Trying to bring back her friend Creek, because she grew quite fond of this sarcastic speaking robot, and I guess it has elements of her father in it as well. So they just get her to settle down and say, take a break, you've been working on it, you'll do much better. So she finally does back off, and suddenly they hear this growling coming from the woods. Then we were back in the city. The Gemini twins are coming back with the Terran Seed and also the head of an ancient robot. That's what Josh and her group were using to find the Terran Seed, and it has some kind of activation response with this Terran Seed. The Terran Seed will help Earth replenish itself and grow everything back. The flora, the fauna, the water. It'll bring everything back if it can get activated. But at this point, the Celestials are trying to keep Earth to themselves and let everybody else kind of perish in the meantime. Now we have Ares here meeting with one of the twins, and they take the head off to a laboratory while Pisces takes the other one off for a round of lovin', I guess. But they seem to enjoy themselves quite a bit. At first I thought maybe Aquarius was involved with this as well, but I think that's just Pisces' own water that she brings with her, as she seems to be laying in a pool of it at the end there. I don't know if that'll play an important part in the future issues. We'll have 3 more after this. This is a recommend, by the way. So we have the other Gemini twin. One's a woman, one's a man. I just figured that out in this issue. This is the woman, and she's talking with Virgo. Virgo takes the head to the lab, and they're going to hook this up. And what we get is this transfer of conversation between their robot. I don't know if we have it here, that they had reconstructed but wasn't really working properly, and with the head that was working properly since Josh fixed it. They found it out in a crash site out in the Wastelands originally. Okay, then we get the attack of these like killer shrew, wolf, boars, something, and suddenly there's this whistle that comes in behind and it scares off the boars. And it turns out to be the shade that helped them. In the original, they thought he was dead, but helped him escape very early on in their travels into the wasteland from the posse and gave him a chance to get a little bit of distance between the two of them. So apparently this head has something to do with, maybe that's how they were using it to whistle through or something, in case they come back. But he is dying. They thought he was dead, but he is dying. Now he's able to help Ichabod heal. You can see the surprise in his eyes. And he's also able to help Josh fix the robot, get it working again. As you can see, he is fading fast. Now here's the other thing. There were like 3 things that bothered me in here. It's the profanity, which doesn't seem to fit with this story. The fact that Ichabod's not doing anything the last 8 issues. And we get this side narration, like a sub-narration that doesn't really fit. It's telling ancient stories, but it doesn't seem to fit here. It's like here, 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 here. And you're kind of reading it, think it's going to make sense with what you're seeing, but it really doesn't. So it's kind of annoying. I think it would be better if they just don't even have that in there. And then you can see it's again up here. Meanwhile, back in the town, the villagers are they're at their wits' end. They are planning an overthrow. Now they know that the Celestials can be killed, even though they didn't kill that one. They are planning to try to take matters into their own hand before they are starving completely to death. Back at the camp, we get a little more back and forth, and the Shade does a mind meld with Creek, trying to give him that last bit of information. And that's kind of where we end, where this appears to be the Terran Seed, all hooked up, ready for more experiments back at the lab, while our crew tries to figure out what to do next. And I'm assuming this is the next issue, and I'm thinking this is going to be Taurus, because I don't think they've introduced Taurus. But this is a recommend, and that's what we got on this. So it's kind of a short review, but it does get the good excavating seal of approval. You will have to read all the past issues to really know what's going on with this. So I'd wait for the trade. I do believe, no, that's not. There might be a trade out on this, but If there isn't, you'd have to try to find all 8 previous issues. Okay, well, thank you for stopping by and listening to my review as I run out of gas here. Okay, this does get the Indie Comics Jones good excavating seal of approval as I dug it up at the store there. As always, please please subscribe, and please leave comments, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. I got one more comic to do to finish up last week's haul, and I'll be doing that today. I don't know if I'm going to have a review tomorrow or not, but if I don't, I'll have one on Wednesday, late Wednesday. Okay, so thank you very much for stopping by. As always, this is Indie Comics Jones from the Temple of Tomes bidding you adieu.